Shut up and sit down.
Hello gang, Colin here, Festa 67's workshop, and welcome to part 9 of the Death Race Mustang. Now what's this chunk of old phone wire, I hear you ask? Well, I'm going to be using that to make some NOS tubes for the gas bottles on the back, what would be the back seat, and a bit of wiring for the old instrument binnacles. So we'll get the old interior sorted and start laying this out. So I literally just bend a little corner and drop it in roughly where I want it to go in the bottles, and then I'm just going to run my thumb along there and probably a wooden spudger just to shape the bit of copper wire inside reasonably to what I'm after, and it'll just run along the floor and disappear out the corner there. So that's what we're going to do. We'll have a pair of them. We'll do one for the driver's side, one for the passenger side, and it's just to give the illusion that there's something there, but you probably won't see it once the top body shell and that is on. But yeah, we're modelers, aren't we? We like to know it's there. You know, we've put the tanks in, so we might as well put a pipe in to go to the tank. Otherwise, what's the tank doing? So we'll just do a little bit of adjusting on this bad boy. Give that a little feedykins into the middle there. Yeah, you will go in. Go on. Yeah, and thank you. Yeah, I'm having an argument with a bit of wire already. Not bad, we're only 2 minutes in. Yeah. So we'll get a rough idea of the length of that, and I'll just go over a little bit so that I can tuck it underneath the interior plastic seat panel there. So I'll probably go about a centimetre over, and then I'll just give it a nip with a pair of cutters, and then I'll bend it underneath. But we'll get the old wooden spudger out, and these are handy for these. These are the little clay for if you work with dash clay. And I've got a load of wooden clay tools and that, but they also come in handy for this sort of thing. So us modelers like to use tools for purposes that they weren't intended to be used for. So we'll have a little thinkykins of where we can get that to disappear, I reckon. Probably just underneath, because there's a little gap there, and I reckon I can tuck it in there just in front of that rear wheel there. So probably nip it just where that green band is, and then just slide it in there, and I might get me long nose pliers on that just to give it a bit of a crimp effect, because we don't want it to fall apart when we put the shell in, do we? So yeah, and that'll just pinch that into place, and it'll just hold it enough that it won't move. And if need be, I can always go along with the extra thin and just give it a quick scoot along there just to bond the plastic to the plastic, so to speak, but might not need to. So we'll do the same to the other side. Same process. Feed it into the gap between the 3 tanks there. And in our imaginary world there's a copper union in there with all the gauges that the pipe connects to, but you can't see them because it's got a cover on it, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, and then just work our way along the panel edge where the seat panel comes down and joins the floor. And we'll do exactly the same. We'll cut a little bit over on the green band there, little bendy pops, and then straight in with the old needle nose pliers to give that a pinch into place. And I reckon that won't come out of there. That now's the famous last words, because if later on in the build you see me fiddling about with this, you'll go, here you slaphead, You turned round and said, yeah, I know. So I'm already eyeballing as I'm doing this. I'm looking at them front instruments up there, and I think we could do with some wiring going there. Just pop that wheel on there. They're only rested in place. The fastening on the wheels on this kit isn't great, if I'm honest. It's a little pin that's just a nudge fit, and you've only got to look at the wheel when it falls off. And being that this is a static display on a dial, I am tempted to bond the wheels permanently in position, because I want to put magnets in the tyres so that it can magnetise to the diorama. And I think if the wheels turn, the magnets are going to lose their place, aren't they? Whereas if I glue them in place and fix them, then the magnets are always going to be at the bottom, aren't they? So I might end up gluing the wheels. Normally on my builds I always glue one of the wheels solid, stops it rolling along the shelf. How many times have we gone up, dusted the models, the cars rolled forward and gone straight off the edge of the precipice onto the floor? Yeah, we've all done it. So we can start making our little wire cluster, I reckon, for the instrument panel. And it's going to be a similar process to what I've done now. I'm just going to run a little cluster of wires, glue them all together, and then fold them underneath the dashboard and let them disappear. Pinch them into place, and then once the body shell goes over the top, they're held in place. Yeah. Almost sounded like I knew what I was doing then, didn't I? Yeah, yes, Festa. See? So that's one. So we want to mirror that. Make another one the same. So just fold it in a letter U shape. Like so. And then nip them to the same length. And then they'll get twisted together. And it will form a little miniature loom with the 4 wires, and you're just going to super glue them in place, but they'll look like they're coming out the instruments. That's the theory anyway. Just like that. See, and then we'll have 3 across the top of the roll cage there for the other side. So I'll make that, and I'll do that in an S shape, and then I'll just cut one of the loops, twist the others together, and then you'll end up with a row of 3 wires. I know. All clever stuff, isn't it, eh? Don't mess around in here, mate, not in this little workshop. Yeah. Festa's happy little world. He's driving around the bench on his Mustang, mate, giving it serious Frankenstein death race manoeuvres, with plenty of "have it, my son, have it" fork handles. Yeah, just nip that, and there you have it. So we'll use the needle nose to twist them together, trying not to remove any of my own thumb skin and all of that, because yeah, and that should be that. So we'll get the glue of the super kind out. Yeah, excuse the state of my super glue bottle. Used to have a pointed nozzle on it, but it kept blocking up, and I keep cutting bits off of it, and I end up with nothing. And normally a quarter of a bottle of super glue that I can't squeeze out anyway because I haven't got a nozzle left. Yeah. But anyway. So this is where the wires will end up sticking to me rather than the car. This normally is an alert for anyone in a hangout with me. The just standing joke amongst them is, oh, he's got the super glue out. How many pieces of the model are going to be attached to him by the end of this session? And yeah, That's normally what happens. And of course they're all good mates of mine, but like all true good mates, they all mock me mercilessly because I've got bits of model stuck to me. So yeah, their support is noted. So fingers crossed I should be able to remove me thumb from the model without the wires coming with. I can't keep a straight face myself because I just know it's going to happen to me. It's like yeah. So if we hold it with a spudge and see whether we can successfully remove myself from it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, bit more's needed on that part there. Bondage needs to happen. So this is now dangerous, dangerous ground because yeah. Go on, Cole, you can do this. Oh, I could be on a roll here. Yeah. There you go. Look at that. A successful super glue incident. No adhesion to model. I'm doing quite well there. So that is just going to have a little drop more of the old super glue there, just to let it soak down amongst the wires, so that when I put this set on, they join to the wires that I've already put in, as well as the front edge of the roll cage, because I've got the body shell to go over the top of this, and the theory is it's going to pinch these wires over the roll cage, and then none of them will move. That's my theory. Whether or not my theory comes to fruition, we'll know when it comes to joining the body together. Could end up in a huge dynamic moment, and a bottom lip and a wibble and toys out and everything. But we'll try and look professional at this stage and go for a yet fully intended, that's what it was meant to look like. If it works, I look good, and if it doesn't, I'll just edit it out. Yeah, don't be like Festa. So we'll just split the wires a little bit, just to give them a bit of separation. There you go. And then they'll just get painted with the same flat black that the rest of the area is covered in. And then that just leaves me the little cluster of 3 for the main instrument binnacle then on the dashboard. So we'll start trying to figure out where we want them to go and get our bends in. And then once we've got a reasonable proximity, we can then put a big glob of the super glue and then lay it on with the needle noses, in the hope that we nervous now because I've not stuck myself to the car yet and there's still time, so I'm going to get the tweezers out and see whether or not we can achieve this. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, go on. Prise it off your finger with the tweezers. There you go. Yeah, we did stick it to me finger. So we just splay the wires out a little bit more, and we'll go for round 2, I think. Yeah. So in we come. Deep breath. Go on. And we'll just get a bit more super glue on there, I think, just to give that little bit of protection over the top edge there. I'll just put the lid back on for that. And we'll put that to one side now. Just move me wires out of the way. And then we can give this a quick skim over with a bit of black paint. Just give that a covering. Like so. And then do the same with the other side there. Like that. There you go. So I'll just bung the lid on that and then we'll get that out of the way. And bring the shell in. And I think let's have a go at joining them together, I think, didn't you? Now, this is known as a marriage in car assembly plants in real life, where the bottom part of the car joins the top. Especially if it's got a backbone chassis in it, then yeah. So a little bit of assistance with the spudger was required. But we're looking pretty rosy. Not too many gaps. Might be a little bit of tweakage needed here and there just to trim off anything, because there are some 3D printed parts on this as well that are having to match the inside contours, so I might have to go back and do a little bit of adjustment inside to some of the cage members and that, but for a first test fit, that's not too bad. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. There's a slight gap on the rear wheel arch there. It looks like perhaps one of the cage members might just be fouling, so but I reckon a deft bit of filing and that should be ready to pop in place and join permanently. All the areas I thought weren't going to fit seem to have gone together really well, so it's literally just, I can feel it with my fingers, it's just where the roll cage on the rear window joins above the seat there, so I'll probably pop it apart and file that down. But yeah, I'm happy with that. Well, we've had our cup of tea and we've let this dry. As you can see, we've got the Mustang together with the doors in place like so, and we've been at it and done some bullet holes, etc. I'll show you how I've done them in a minute. Done the other side as well. So he's been driving along and they've driven past and had a shot at poor old Frankenstein. So there you go. So we got the suicide doors and we got the bonnet in place as well, like so. So I think we can put the plate on underneath. So first thing I'll do is I'm going to pop the bonnet off, because I don't want the bonnet to keep flapping around like a flappy thing. Get the old super glue out on this, and we want to just put a bit along these two chassis rails, just along there, like so, a bit on there, and perhaps a bit around here somewhere. Now there's going to be a deft little bit of trick going on in a minute at the front, so I'm not too massively fussed if that doesn't stick straight away, because yeah, I kind of have a cunning plan for that. So the super glue can come out of the way now, and we can get a bit of filament from the 3D printer. I've got offcuts of filament laying around because I use them in my 3D printing pen. So I'll just bung this in and then we'll start the ball rolling, I think, and get a bit of tacking going on. And what I'm doing is I'm just warming this up just to tack it in place, and then I shall go along and use the filament to run a weld along there. Yeah. Press. Let it cool. These are only tacks at the moment. I'm going to be coming along with a filament shortly just to give those a bit more oomph. Let's see whether we've got something we can rest that on. And we can basically start coming along then. So much easier when you're not trying to film. Go. Look at that little pinchy pops. And that's in there now. Come along now and fold that down. Whilst that's under tension, give that a bit of a melty pops. Do its thing. And then we want come under there. just nursing the plastic together at this stage. There you go. And then put a tack in there. Bring that leading edge down then. Drop that in there. It's a bit smoky because don't forget there's a bit of super glue under there. There you go. And then we can get rid of the big coil. Just have a little off cut like that. Here's what we want. And it's the same process again. Work my way along. Like so. Come along the middle. Trying to get an angle where I'm not obscuring what I'm doing. So apologies if I keep cutting across shot. It's just I'm looking at the phone that I'm filming with just to make sure that we're capturing what we're doing, but I don't want to put my hand in the way so you can't see what I'm doing. It's the lesser of two evils basically. So we've got the plastic in place and then we can start warming it up to how we want it to conform. And then any excess you can just knock out of the way. But I want it to look a bit bumped up under here as well. Where is it? A few boulders and things, so there will be some dinkage under here. But doing this is quite a, especially on a wrecker, quite a good way of filling in large voids. But we can just do with a little bit going on under there just to bring that join with a bit more strength now. Like that. And a bit under there. Like so. Come all the way to the edge. And then when this is gone off and cooled right down, because it's still very pliable at the moment, we then go over it with a sanding stick and we can re-sculpt all of this corner then. But that is a bit of the old joinage going on. And this little, say soldering iron, heating iron I use on 3D prints just to do a bit of smoothing and sculpting and stuff, so they're freely available on the Amazon. I think they're sold under the Mod 3D banner if I remember rightly, but they are there. Because I used to use a soldering iron to do this. A little butane one. And then I happened across this one and it works off of a little USB cable that goes in the bum there. And then tack these two plates together like that. Like that. And then we can put a fake weld to join them two together. All the way along. Just like that. Yeah. And then we can go for a bit of tackage there. Warm that corner up. There's the old super glue there, smouldering away quite nicely. I can assure you the vapour is potent. That's why I've got me big fan ready to go, and yeah, I did have my respirator on, but I've literally only momentarily done that, so when I do the rest of this seam I'll put my respirator on. There you go, welded. See, done. And that is how I put that on there. As for bullet holes, using the fine tip of that, or we want to do a few shots on this corner, it is literally, if he's driving this way the bullets are going to hit, so you just cut the ricochets like that, let them cool down, go over with a bit of silver. Same with the spoiler on the back there, there's a couple there, so we can just put a few more in, just like that. Right. Couple of ricochets off the back, and then they've driven past, so they've had to shoot up at an angle there and gone in. A few on the corner there as it's gone up over the door. Lucky shot there. Couple there. You got it. If you've seen the film, you'll see how shot up this poor little Mustang gets, and it, as a fan of Mustangs, it's, yeah, let's do a little cluster there. They've had a go at the engine, they've come along and they've had a shot at the driver there, and he's just managed to escape that. But yeah, that's pretty much how they're done. And then they've come along the side here and shot there, so there's going to be a little cluster here going into the air vent, leading up there, maybe one or two there, a big deep one there where they've tried to shoot it with an armour piercer. Little cluster around it, and I think bullet holes wise, yeah, there's enough, but you get the gist. So that's the spoiler on. Just put a little bit more in there, so that when I come to sculpt that, that just sits in there a little bit more leaner, should we say. So we'll just melt a bit more in there. Let's turn that back on. That's it, it's going now. Have you a bit of that? There you go. So I think we're good to go on that. They're joined together, that's welded to the sides, that's in place, that's on the frames, that's held in by that, that's welded to the front there. Last of the bullet holes are in, a couple in there. They've had a shot across the back of the cart. So I'll turn that off now. What else have we been up to on that? Oh yeah, I'll show you a couple of bits. I might have already shown these in a previous video, but I've got my printer going in the corner there for some other diorama parts for this, so I'm gonna time lapse some print jobs on this and put them up probably in that corner there at some point in the next episode, so that you can see what I've been up to there. So I'll just move me filth of the starship out of the way. What have we been up to with the dio? We've got, let's just move the old Mustang a sec. That's an LED bulb, don't want to lose that, do I? Let's put that over there and he can come out. So can the tombstone. I'll start keeping the car parts together. Colt, that helps a massive amount, doesn't it, mate? We've been printing these out. These are little targets that go in the ground that the cars drive over that arm all the weapons. And I'm thinking of putting in lighting under here in the diodes so they light up. Perhaps a tactile switch so when you press it, it pops a light on. Tombstone's had a good larrapin, so that's going to sit just up underneath there on a couple of magnets. So we got that to line up, and then once I've got the magnets in and I'm happy with how that sits, I can then sculpt anything to fit that needs to fit. And yeah, so that's that. And we've also got Frankenstein. Yeah, so we got him to go in. A slightly drunk Frankenstein there. So I think we'll pause there. I'll pack this lot away and then we'll do a bit of sandage and shapeage on that. Wrap this episode up then, and we can come back next episode and I'll prime this so that it matches the underside, and then probably start doing a bit more weathering now underneath so that we can start getting that where we want it. I think that'll be a good start then. I'm going to call this episode done. So whilst I give this a little sand, I think it would be a good opportunity to just say a massive thank you to everyone that is supporting me on the Patreon. Thank you all for your contributions, and it is getting put to good use. Whilst I sit and sand this front spoiler, just point out, if you pop over to the YouTube and give that a subscription and a like, click the bell so that you get notified of any videos up and coming that I'm going to be doing. Tune in every Sunday at 12:30 in the afternoon for me and Dave to do our Bodybuilders Sunday Brunch, and I look forward to seeing you then. So in the meantime, stay safe in the current climate, enjoy the warm weather safely, obviously, and until the next episode, I'm going to love and leave you with a big man hug. Yeah, gummy bears and all of that. Catch you later. Bye bye for now.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action.